Before we start the actual content of this presentation, you should know that this video has been recorded for use in more than one class. As a result, there may be some things in this video that do not apply to the specific class that you are taking. Please just consider that an added bonus at no extra charge. Also, there is a PDF file attached to your assignment that contains the numbers that will be referenced in this video. If you have not downloaded and printed that PDF file yet, it is highly suggested that you pause the video and do so. Specific references to specific numbers will be part of the presentation, and those numbers are on the PDF file. This particular presentation will cover a number of specific metrics composed of liquidity ratios used in analyzing financial statements and performance. In other presentations, there will be other metrics examined. I should also add that the formats have been pre-entered into this video to save time on the video. You most likely won't have that luxury if you are doing this in the real world. So let's get started. The number of days sales in inventory starts off with the average inventory number, like was calculated in the inventory turnover ratio. The second number needed for this metric is total sales. For the sake of this example, total sales will be divided by 365 days to calculate an average daily sales number. As a side note, some companies may choose to calculate their average daily sales by actually averaging daily sales. It's unclear whether the extra work to do so will ever really gain anything significant for this ratio. The total daily sales is on the PDF source document at the top of the income statement for current FYA and is $68,619,000. As in the inventory turnover ratio, the 9514 and 10394 numbers are entered in the appropriate workbook cells. The number 68619 is entered into the workbook cell under net sales. The formula is started with an equal. Two open parentheses are entered. The cell with 9514 in it is highlighted. A plus is typed in. The cell with 10394 is highlighted. A closed parenthesis is followed by a slash denoting division, and the number 2 followed by another closed parenthesis. And a slash is typed in. An open parenthesis is typed in. 68619 is highlighted, a slash 365, and a closed parenthesis is typed in, and enter is pressed. The typical format for a number of days sales inventory is a general format to one decimal place. The receivables turnover also does an average. For this and the following metric, it uses average accounts receivable. The net sales of $68,619,000 is the same as was used in the previous ratio. The average accounts receivable requires the beginning accounts receivable, which is in the current assets section of the last year FYB balance sheet. It is $879,000. The ending accounts receivable is just to the left of the $879,000 and is $949,000. As always, the trailing three zeros will be dropped when entering the numbers into the workbook. To start entering numbers, the 68619 is entered into the workbook cell under net sales. Then 879 is entered into the cell under beginning accounts receivable, and 949 is entered into the cell under ending accounts receivable. Since the formula for this ratio is exactly the same as the formula for the inventory turnover ratio, it can be copied. To do so, highlight the cell containing the answer to the inventory turnover ratio, hold the Control key and press the C key. Now highlight the cell where the formula for receivables turnover belongs, hold the Control key and click the V key. Your receivables turnover is 75.1 and is shown in a general format to one decimal place. The one thing that needs to be added is to remember when copying formulas to check and make sure that everything is still correct in the formula after it has been copied. By highlighting the cell that you wish to check and pressing the F2 button on your keyboard, you can see exactly what the formula is in the cell and can visually see what cells are being used in the formula. When you're done looking, press Escape. Only if you have made changes to the formula to make it right should you press Enter. The number of days in sales and receivables uses all the same numbers that we just used in the receivables turnover ratio. Enter the 879 under Beginning Accounts Receivable, the 949 under Ending Accounts Receivable, and 68619 under Net Sales. The same way the formula was done for the prior metric, it can be done for this one. Only this time the result for the number of days in sales inventory cell is highlighted, the Control key is held down, and the C is pressed. Highlight the cell where the number of days sales and receivables answer is to be. The Control key is held down, and the V key is pressed. Again, this answer, 4.9, is in a general format to 1 decimal place. The next metric, the ratio of fixed assets to long-term liabilities, uses numbers just from the balance sheet and just from the current year. On the PDF source document, the net fixed assets is shown as total property, plant, and equipment. For the current year FYA, it is $22,519,000. Long-term liabilities in the same column is down in the Liabilities and Stockholders' Equity section and is $15,622,000. Remember to leave off the trailing 3 zeros when entering the numbers into the workbook. Enter 22519 under Net Fixed Assets and 15622 under Long-Term Liabilities. To create the answer formula, start with an equals sign, highlight the 22519, type a slash denoting division, highlight the 15622, and press Enter. The format for this ratio is a general format to 1 decimal place. The operating cash flow to current debt ratio uses a number from the statement of cash flows. The operating cash flow for current year FYA of $3,185,000. It also uses a number from the balance sheet, the total current liabilities for current year FYA of $11,083,000. Of course, when entering the data into the workbook, the trailing 3 zeros are ignored on both numbers. Enter 3185 into the workbook cell under Operating Cash Flow and 11083 into the workbook cell under Current Liabilities. This time, a shortcut is used. The 1.4 in the prior ratio is highlighted, the Control key is held, and the C is pressed. The cell under Operating Cash Flow to Current Debt is highlighted, the Control key is held down, and the V key is pressed. The result, 0.3, is again a general format to 1 decimal place. For the operating cash flow to long-term liabilities ratio, the workbook cell under operating cash flow gets 3185 just like the prior ratio. The workbook cell under long-term liabilities gets 15622 just like the ratio of fixed assets to long-term liabilities. Once again, the formula is copied from the prior ratio. The result is 0.2, and you should never forget when copying formulas to ensure that they are still doing what you want them to do.